Yeah.
God be with you, good wife. Has something happened here?
Heavens no. It's quiet here, unlike some other places.
And what about that empty grave?
What empty grave would that be now?
The one beyond the village, alongside the road to Sasau. Just by the river, on the Pine Headland.
How would you know it's empty? Unless it was dug up.
Oh, it's dug up all right. Freshly. And empty. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Lord in heaven. What in the name of...
How come it's not in hallowed ground, anyway? Only unrepentant sinners are buried like that. Usually.
I don't like to say. It's an old wound that's best forgotten.
Whose grave is it?
Well, once a long time ago there was a young charcoal burner living here with his wife. There was always a lot of charcoal burners here, but this fellow worked alone. That's not an easy job for one man.
No one wanted to work with him, or what?
Oh, he was a hard-headed fellow who always wanted to take care of his family himself.
Well, I can understand that. It's always better to work for yourself than break your back for someone else.
His wife was expecting, though no one knew it yet. He wasn't doing well at all. Soon enough they had nothing to eat, and so he took to thieving.
Well, thieving is wrong.
Aye, but when there's a child on the way and your wife hasn't the strength to get out of bed for the hunger, well, you ought to think differently.
And did he get caught?
Well, at first it was just a few eggs going missing from people's hen coops. But then it was anything that wasn't nailed down. And in the end, they caught him.
And I suppose he was harshly punished for it.
Even then, he didn't let on why he was doing it. They whipped the skin off his back and banished him from Leditchcott.
So justice was done then?
It wasn't enough for some folk. When the butcher found out he'd never get any compensation, he wanted them to chop off the charcoal burner's hands. If the bailiff hadn't talked sense into him, he'd have done it himself with his cleaver.
Well, he got off lightly enough then.
And in the end, he got what was coming to him, and more.
The butcher caught up with him?
No, no. It was the mills of God turning slowly but surely. His wife bled to death in childbirth, and the child died with her.
God have mercy on their souls.
Amen.
Nothing could have been done to save them.
There was no one there. He had no one who would care for his wife. They say on that day, he parted ways with God forever. And he turned his back on the village too. I reckon he never forgave himself. Nor us, either.
The Lord moves in mysterious ways. But how did he end up?
Don't ask me that, lad. I beg you.
Come now, good wife. You can't leave the story unfinished.
I said no. Will you let it lie?
Yeah.
What are you here for?
I know who was buried in that grave. A young charcoal burner.
So begin the tragic tale of the young charcoal burner who became entangled with the devil himself.
Oh, don't start. What devil? I'm trying to tell you. He was from Ledetchko. He was trying to eke out a living for himself and his wife, but he couldn't manage. When she fell pregnant, he took to stealing.
Pride drove him from the straight and narrow path, and soon he sold his soul to the devil to fill his stomach.
They caught him and punished him, but some of the people he'd robbed didn't think it was enough. Then when his wife died in childbirth, and the child too, he blamed everyone for it. Even God, apparently.
But when the time came to pay his debt to hell, the devil had no use for his soul and took his wife and child instead. The charcoal burner cursed God, who struck him down in righteous vengeance. But the dead man's soul never left his body. He came back as a revenant to vent his rage at God and men and take vengeance on the living.
Jesus, did you listen to what I said at all?
Sorry, did you say something?
Oh, never mind. What do you want me to do with it?
The question is, what would the revenant do to get revenge on the villagers? Well, apprentice?
What about his wife and child? No doubt he'd want to avenge their death.
Well, how did they die?
In childbirth.
And when his love turned to rage, the water turned to blood. Nothing too original. But it's tried and tested. If you do it at the baths, everyone will hear of it.
How am I supposed to do that? It might be a bit suspicious if I'm seen walking around with a pail of blood.
No problem. There's a certain potion that will do the trick easily.
The gossip mentioned the butcher. It seems he was infuriated that the charcoal burner's punishment was too lenient.
And the revenant spoiled their meat with his malign touch.
How's that?
Spoiled meat is a classic example of a revenant's power.
I thought it was the work of bad butchers.
That too, sometimes.
So, I should switch the good meat for bad, the butchers. What about the butcher woman?
What about her?
Well, her conscience is still troubled on account of her man, and she feels haunted. This won't help her much.
What's that got to do with you?
Well, I want to help her.
All right, if you can find some other solution, you don't have to switch the meat. But I wouldn't worry about her. But make sure it's the same kind of meat. Not even a revenant will turn a cow into a chicken.
He was stealing food from people, right? So, supposing he started again.
We should steal from people? Disgraceful. Have you no shame?
Maybe just a few eggs from hen coops, like the gossip mentioned.
Well, that wouldn't be too serious a sin. Will they put it down to the revenant, though?
They would, if I put some charcoal there instead.
And their nourishment he turned into ash.
He cursed God. That's very serious.
What is it that most brings God to mind?
They don't have a church there. But everyone will have a rosary. I can't think of anything else.
That's it! If folks start losing their rosaries, they'll have sleepless nights over it.
You want me to steal rosaries? But that's...
Or just exchange them.
For what?
For nothing.
Great.
So, switch eggs for charcoal, switch the meat, color the water in the baths, and switch the rosaries. That ought to do it. I hope so. Of course, if you come up with anything else, don't let me hold you back. Talking to people might give you ideas. Traders, the bailiff.
Well, what if someone sees me in the act?
They mustn't. Otherwise, it'll end up like Sasau all over again. Don't draw attention to yourself, or they'll put two and two together.
Sure. I'll keep my head down. And how will I know if I've succeeded? I doubt it'll be announced on the market square.
I'll be the first to know. They'll come running to me for a remedy, like hens at feeding time. Off you go and raise hell.
But whatever he did, don't you think he deserves some peace?
Dear Henry, after all the poor wretch went through, I'd say he's beyond any peace.
Well, he certainly won't have any as long as I'm carrying his bones around with me.
Ah, but you know who those remains could help?
Help? Who? How?
Me, of course. And I'd pay you a nice price for a revenant's bones.
But there is no revenant.
Not yet. What do you say?
Maybe I should bury him somewhere else.
What are you saying? That would be such a waste. Anyway, if someone saw you, the whole game would be on.
Well, supposing I do it later, when the fuss has died down.
All right, if you must. But I don't know what you hope to get out of it.
At least the poor wretch will have peace at last.
Maybe. As long as you bury him in hallowed ground. Otherwise, you're wasting your time.
Like in Ratai, maybe?
Well, that's probably the nearest. That gossip-mongering crone would know.
True, I could ask her.
If you must. But for heaven's sake, don't even hint to her what you're up to. Bye-bye.
Hey, lad!
Ah,
Don't you want a
it's
little
Henry.
wager on the rat
For a
egg
moment
theory?
there, I didn't recognize.
I'll chop you to pieces, you rat! Jesus Christ!
Don't kill me. I'll tell you everything. Who are you? I'm just a worker here. He told me that if I take care of you, then he'll forgive my debts. I didn't want to, but he forced me to do it.
Who sent you?
It was the master builder's helper. Young Smola.
What? He was supposed to be here as well.
He isn't. He went to the mill nearby when he found out Leshak was hiding out there.
Fuck. What am I supposed to do with you? You tried to kill me.
I was aiming to miss. On purpose. I wanted to scare you off and then say I missed. Don't kill me, please.
I won't do anything to you. I'll leave you in the hands of the monastery law.
Thank you.
It was Moller, the master builder's apprentice.
Him? How do you know?
He sent someone to kill me, who confessed he was forced to do it.
That's a serious accusation. And this man he sent, will he testify?
He can. I hauled him here. He'll confirm everything.
All right, I'll talk to him. And if he testifies...
And that's not even the end of it. Zmola's also set out to kill Leszek, who's hiding from him at the mill.
We have to stop that happening. I'll send the guards. I just hope they get there in time.
Yeah! Yeah! Get him!
Surrender! You'll have to answer for your lawbreaking.
I've got good news, sir. The source of the problem was inside the monastery. There was nothing more to it.
And the construction?
We'll continue. The master builder's helper was to blame for everything. With him out of the way, the work will run smoothly again.
That's good. You've accomplished your task admirably, Henry, and I should reward you for it.
Thank you, Sir Divish.
God be with you.
So, did it work? Is your home free of the ghost?
Oh, you're here, are you? You're lucky I didn't have to get you myself. No, it didn't work. The spirit came just the same as before, and I didn't sleep a wink.
So you're saying I won't get my reward?
You get paid for results, my dear, and I haven't seen any yet. At least now I know that old wives' law doesn't help. Go and see Apothecary Coniash in Ratai. I hear he's familiar with all manner of magic.
Fine. I'll go and see the apothecary. Hopefully we'll come up with something that works. Chickens. That should be no problem. some rest.
And blessed one. Good God. What happened to your clothes?
I asked around in Sasau. Father Francis is doing well in Sasau. He has no plans to return to St. James anytime soon.
You talked to him? How is he doing? Doesn't he need his cassock fixed? He's always tearing it. There isn't a pew or a step he hasn't tripped over at one time or another.
As I said, he's doing just fine.
God bless.
Burned to ashes by singers from before.
Heavens, lad. You're looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Last time I saw you, I thought you were ready for the priest.
I'm feeling as good as new.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
Do you know anything about getting rid of wandering souls?
The restless dead? I might know a bit about that. It depends who wants to know. I wouldn't want to be accused of heresy.
Oh, come now, Konyash. You helped me once before, so I'd like to ask you for something again.
Fine, you're right, Henry. I won't lie to you. I'm interested in occult teachings and a bit of alchemy. It's far more than just old wives' tales. I truly believe it's a science. So what exactly do you need?
To help a village woman from Ledechko. Her neighbour's ghost has been haunting her. He visits her every night.
You don't say. Now this is interesting. Revenant spectral beings, cursed souls from beyond the grave?
Yes, exactly. Her house is haunted.
To put it vulgarly, my lad, to put it vulgarly. But there are spells that can banish restless souls back to the realm of the beyond.
Now that's what I wanted to hear. And do you know the spells?
Well, I'd like to learn at least one. But the only book I know that contains them has been classified amongst the Libri Prohibiti.
I've no idea what that means.
The spell's written in a forbidden book. A book that's in Latin and kept under lock and key in the monastery. It's called Liber de Mortuis, Necronomiconos. Do you need to know any more?
Do you want me to steal the book?
If you want to get rid of that revenant, you have no other choice. When you bring me that book, we can cast the spell together, since you don't know Latin.
Fine. I'll bring the book.
You'll find it in the monastery library. But it won't be easy to get in. Truth be told, I don't know of anyone who is able to break in and out without getting into big trouble.
I'll try.
I hope I can be of help to you, Knight.
I chose a cook as well. Should I tell you or go to Hagen?
Tell me who you chose, and I'll take care of it.
I chose old Agnes for the cook's job. I had a job convincing her, but it was worth it. She's the best cook around.
Glad to hear it. I'll have to drop in on Hagen for lunch sometime. See you later.
I could do with a bite to eat.
See you later.
Good day to you.
About that debt.
Here you are.
Thank you. I'm glad to see you're a man of honour. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Good luck then.
Implements, instruments, and tools. Everything for work and home.
Yeah.
God's sake.
I heard that a pilgrim was selling bits of a sacred sword a while ago. Did he visit you by any chance?
I don't know anything about it.
Really?
Really? Are you trying to suggest I'm lying?
Good luck then.
Just stop that. Hey! Stop! A fave!
Hey!
I'm glad to see.
Do you know if there's anyone...
I've got other things on my... Take care now.
awful skeleton. Well, you know.
Which way you going?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a minute.
What do you need?
Do you know?
I've got other. Farewell. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Do you know?
How should I?
Did I tell you about my wife's lace making?
You were in Rattay the day before yesterday?
Now, no staring at my breasts. Unless you're willing to pay. And then you can even touch them.
What was that?
Jesus!
Oh, that's holy. Watch out! There's a thief here! Hey, who's there?
Yeah.
You there! Stop! Hey, you! Don't move a muscle!
Yeah.
The Lord be praised. God be with you. Take care.
Don't move a finger! Where could he have vanished? Hey, you! Don't move a muscle!
Surrender! You've...
locked all over again.
Got you at last!
What?
Don't play games with me. I know full well about the assaults you committed. Well, you won't forget this in a hurry.
Oh well.
You purged yourself and hand over all...
What do you want?
What's the recipe for that potion you were talking about?
You mean for coloring the water? Ah, well...
Well,
Pay close attention now.
I'm all ears.
How love turned to bloodshed. Once there was a knight who, though upright and noble-looking, had a prickly, unapproachable appearance. He fell in love with a fragile young maid, whom he saw with her sisters in a field, all wearing bright red wimples. But he was afraid his prickly exterior would frighten her. So he asked the advice of another knight, a pious and learned crusader, who carried the name of the patron saint of his order with pride. The pious knight told him he would arrange a rendezvous with the maid. All three would drink wine together by the river, and he would help his friend to get acquainted with her. This they did, but the maid fell in love instead with the pious knight. The stern knight was enraged and challenged his rival to a duel. The two fought long and fiercely, but they were equally matched. And so, in the end, they both fell mortally wounded, anguished at the tragedy her beauty had caused. The young maid took a dagger from one of the knights and plunged it into her own heart. Their bodies lay together on the ground, and the blood flowed from them into the river, turning the waters crimson.
I thought you were going to tell me the recipe, not some fable.
Well, it is the recipe. I mean, the recipe is concealed in the story.
What on earth for?
So I don't forget it.
All right. So what does it mean?
I can't remember.
Great. So if you don't know, who does?
You'll figure it out, my loyal apprentice. I remember there are 3 plants in the story, but that's about all. But I know it was a simple recipe. It should be enough to grind the ingredients and brew them together for one turn. So, all you have to do is work out what the ingredients are from the story.
Sure. Why make things simple if you can complicate them?
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
How'd you get so fucked up?
How do you like it at the mill, Fritz? Gotta be better than the mines.
It's worse here than at Skalitz. There you could disappear without anyone noticing. But here...
But why would you want to disappear? Nimoy isn't here.
No, he's not. But the local foreman is an even bigger ass.
I'm not sure that's possible.
You better believe it. I'd like to pay him back for everything and drown him in the river.
Drown him? What's he done to you?
It was the first or the second day here. We had a disagreement and I told him off. And then, all of a sudden, we're fighting and that fucker just throws me in the river. I nearly drowned.
Well, how did you get out? I thought you couldn't swim.
I can't. They pulled me out. I was up to my waist in water.
I see. Well, I'd be pretty fucking angry too. So you want to pay him back?
Exactly. I don't give a shit about anything around here, but that bastard's in need of a good trouncing.
What about the others at the mill? Are they awful as well?
The miller's an old fool. He believes every word that comes out of Thomas's mouth. It's hopeless. And then there's the miller's daughter. She's a pretty lass, and kind with it. And what can she do? Nothing. Not that it stops Matthew going to see her. But Thomas is the root of the problem.
Do you think he's jealous? Is she a sweetheart?
He might make puppy dog eyes at her, but most of the time he just struts about like a peacock. I really don't think she's the problem.
And what do you want to do about it? Do you think you can come to an agreement?
No fucking chance. Matthew hopes so because he likes it here. It's true the work's better than the mines, but the pay's worse.
So how do you plan on dealing with it? Leaving?
Perhaps. But first, I want to give Thomas a proper trouncing. I mean a real thrashing.
And you think that will help?
Maybe. Maybe he'll knock some sense into that fat head of his. Or he'll be too frightened to mess with me.
That might help.
So why don't you arrange a fight with him? If we win, he'll leave us alone. Oh, we could...
What?
We could lure him off someplace far away and then wait for him. Maybe to play dice with Lawrence. He would have to go through the dark woods.
I'll think about it. The monastery wants you to pay for treatment. That doesn't sound right.
Leave it be, Howell.
If you say so. I still want to ask you more about Thomas. Hey, Fritz. Will you help me with something?
Depends. I ain't working in no mill again.
No, this is much more suited to your skills.
What? You need some faces pummeled?
No, not quite. Just to put the fear of God in a few villagers.
I can do that too. Well, you did get us a job, even if it is shit. How could I refuse to help you with a thing like that? But you ought to ask Matthew too. He's the clever one.
I'll do that.
Goodbye.
Jesus, what have you been up to?
I've heard you don't have it easy here.
So you spoke to Fritz then? I bet that wasn't quite how he put it.
No, not quite. Apart from Thomas's name, the rest was mostly swear words.
I can imagine. I've been hearing the same from him all week. The foreman here is a pain in the arse. He's trying either to wear us to the bone or force us to leave.
Always forcing you to work, is he?
If only. That wouldn't be so awful. But nothing we do is good enough for him. There's always some reason for him to yell at us.
I can imagine.
You know what it's like. We do too little, and it takes us too long, and what we eat's worth more than the work we've done, and it's no fun listening to that sort of shit day after day.
And the miller won't stick up for you. I would have thought all the yelling would drive him mad.
Not really. He trusts that loudmouth bastard more than us. He's got us down for a pair of parasites.
I see.
What's so stupid is the mill really needs us. They haven't had any hands here for quite a while, and the mill needs a lot of fixing. But with them around, we can't even get to work.
And you definitely don't... You don't ever provoke him?
I've already told you once, he's an arsehole. I'd say there's nothing we can do about it. If he wants to yell at us, he'll yell at us.
Have you tried talking with him?
What do you think? But that just sets him off. He starts saying we're practically bandits, and what he's going to do about it. That gets Fritz going, and he starts yelling too, and...
And what do you want to do about it? Just run away?
Actually, I'd like to stay here, at least for a bit. I never would have thought I'd like working in a mill. But not with him around. It's unbearable, and there's no one I can complain to. But you could.
Me? Do you think they'll listen to me?
They did once already, didn't they? They hired us because of you. You could have another word with them.
Back then, making promises was enough. Now, it will be worse.
You can forget about the miller. It's Thomas you need to convince. The miller takes his opinion seriously. So, will you do it for us? Again?
Fine. I'll try and talk to him.
I'm glad. But try not to get on his wrong side. You won't get anywhere with him then.
I'll keep that in mind.
Matthew, I need a hand with something.
What is it, Henry?
I need to scare a few locals.
Well, gladly. Whatever the reason. I'm bored here anyway. And you always had our backs. Have you spoken to Fritz?
Aye, and he said to talk to you. He figured you'd come up with a clever plan.
So, what exactly do you have in mind?
I want people to believe there's an evil force at large. I'm sure I can leave the details to you.
Rely on it, Henry. See you later.
God be with you.
So what do you think about the workers I brought you?
If I hadn't put in a good word for them, the miller would have thrown them out by now.
I heard them say something else.
So they're complaining, are they? I provide for them, and all they do is slack off.
Isn't it the miller who provides for them?
He can't manage the work anymore. If it weren't for me, there'd be nothing left standing around here.
But you need the help anyway. And they're pretty handy.
Maybe. But they're in no danger of overworking themselves. They act like they're too good for the mill. And I saw them eyeing up Jane.
Yeah, nothing strange about that. She's a pretty girl, and she's of an age to marry.
It's not marriage they've got on their minds. They'd have their way with her, then before her belly started to grow, they'd have run for the hills.
Look, we can reach an agreement. You need the mill fixed, they need the money. If they have peace to do their work, they'll be able to finish it faster.
But...
And then they'll take their groschen and leave. The mines will open again, and the faster they get their money, the quicker they'll be gone.
But do you really think I can trust them to do it? Will they do their work and leave? And leave Jane alone in the meantime?
Of course. They're not interested in the mill. They just need the coin to pay their debts. Once they've got enough, they'll have no reason to stay here.
I never thought we could sort it out this way.
I've known them for a long time, and you can rely on them when it comes to this. Everybody will be better off.
All right. If they keep their part of the bargain, I'll even give them a few extra groschen. But woe betide them if they don't. You can tell them that. God be with you.
Jesus, what have you been up to?
It took some doing, but I made a deal with him.
I'm glad to hear it. So we can stay here? He'll leave us be?
He'll leave you alone, but there are conditions. Once you finish your job, you'll vanish from here. But you'll get an extra groschen or two for your troubles.
And that's it? I thought... Never mind.
Oh, and you're to stop dallying with the miller's daughter. Keep on mucking about with her and you'll muck things up for yourselves.
The fucking bastard. He can go fuck himself. He'd better give us enough groschen to make it worth it. But I suppose I should thank you. You may have bought us some peace and quiet, and that's better than nothing. Here's something for your help. Take care.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Well, I know. The pig turns up willingly for the slaughter.
Raise the alarm! Watch out!
Is that the best you can do? Alarm! Over here! Where is everyone? Quick! To arms! Get over here!
Come on.
God. Entertainment? Great. Come. Hey! All of you, gather here! Raise the alarm! Raise the alarm! Watch out!
It on.
Got weak at the knees, have you?
Well then.
Not enough.
Bollocks!
Dopiti!
Take that!
I'll slaughter you.